So, how exactly does one single nation completely reinvent the global game of football? I mean, how do you go from fielding purely physical, combative teams to pioneering these incredibly complex tactical systems that are used by literally every elite club on the planet today? The modern, high-speed matches we're all watching every weekend? They're built entirely on these innovations. Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to answer exactly how they did it.
Ron shoots! Goal! 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 Those legendary words screamed with just pure, unbridled emotion by the German radio broadcaster Herbert Zimmermann. Well, they weren't just a reaction to a soccer match. They essentially marked the moment an entirely new footballing identity was forged. The emotional stakes of that 1954 World Cup final were unimaginably high, and that singular moment set the stage for decades of technical evolution.
So, we are going to trace the fascinating tactical timeline of German football. We'll explore how a nation moved from the chaotic miracle of 1954 all the way to the hyper-structured, high-octane modern systems that completely dominate the sport today.
Here is our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The miracle of Bern. 2. The cultured defenders. 3. Inventing the libero. 4. The Gegenpressing revolution. And finally, 5. Hansi Flick's tactical synthesis.
Chapter 1. The Miracle of Bern, Rebuilding a Nation Through Football.
Let's set the scene. It's 1954. West Germany was a divided, physically and economically depleted nation, just 9 years removed from the end of the Second World War. They desperately needed a miracle. And look at the sheer contrast on the pitch here. On one side, you have Hungary's golden team, led by the absolute global superstar Ferenc Puskás. These guys hadn't lost a match in over 4 years, they'd won Olympic gold, and they were averaging an absolutely insane 6.25 goals per game. On the other side, Sepp Herberger's West Germany, pragmatic, rebuilding, and massive, massive underdogs.
The final at Wankdorf Stadium in Bern kicked off exactly as everyone on Earth expected. By the 8th minute, Hungary was already up 2-0. Game over, right? But then, out of nowhere, the script flips. Max Morlock scores in the 10th minute, and Helmut Rahn ties it up by the 18th. Then, in the 84th minute, Rahn receives the ball, throws a beautiful dummy, and fires in the winner, 3-2. The single greatest upset in World Cup history. But here's the thing, it wasn't just luck.
The real secret was Sepp Herberger's revolutionary tactical preparation. The man completely redefined tournament management. Get this, he deliberately fielded a reserve side against Hungary in the group stage, taking an 8-3 loss just to rest his key players. He also utilized a huge technological advantage, boots with interchangeable studs so his players could adapt to the wet, heavy pitch in Bern. This brilliant combination of squad rotation and environmental adaptation was decades ahead of its time. Chapter 2. The Cultured Defenders. From Stoppers to Strategists.
That pragmatic brilliance in '54 set a serious foundation, but the game was already starting to change. Look at early pioneers like Walter Hempel and Ernst Holstein. While most early 20th century defenders just hammered the ball away with pure physical force, Hempel was actually actively passing and Holstein was neutralizing opposing forwards through pure positioning. Literally no tackling required.
And this sparked a massive philosophical shift in football. It was the sudden realization that the attack actually starts at the very back. Defenders transformed from these combative clearers into cultured architects of the buildup. It was a complete top-to-bottom reimagining of what a defensive player could even be.
Chapter 3. Inventing the libero. Beckenbauer's revolution.
Let's clearly define what this means, because the libero is a super fascinating concept. The word literally translates to free. This is a player operating behind the defensive line. But instead of just sweeping up loose balls like a traditional sweeper, the true German libero actively advances into the midfield while in possession, essentially acting as the team's primary playmaker.
Think about the traditional stopper compared to this new concept. The old way was purely reactive, man-marking an opponent and destroying their plays. Franz Beckenbauer absolutely hated that. He famously said, "I didn't like the fact that someone was running after me for 90 minutes and hitting my knuckles." So what did he do? He created the libero role. It was active, it focused on occupying space rather than man-marking, and it perfectly combined defensive security with brilliant offensive playmaking. So in action, Beckenbauer avoided direct duels, focusing instead on spatial awareness and room occupation. He had this incredible, almost sixth sense ability to instantly identify weak points in the opposing team. But to make this work, he had to rely on a dedicated stopper, a guy like Katja Schwartenbeck, to secure his freedoms and do the dirty work. Once Beckenbauer won the ball, he immediately picked up speed and initiated the attack. It was totally revolutionary.
Chapter 4. The Gegenpressing Revolution. Systematized chaos.
As football evolved, the open space that Beckenbauer used to exploit began to shrink. The game just got way faster. The answer to this? Gegenpressing, or counterpressing. It's a highly aggressive tactical system aimed at regaining possession within 5 to 10 seconds immediately after losing the ball. It's not just your standard pressing, it's this instant, high-intensity reaction to the transition of possession, trying to win it back before the opponent could even set up their attack.
You can think of it like a coordinated swarm. The exact second a player loses the ball, they press instantly. Teammates sprint to cut off passing lanes in a very strict zonal web. Everyone knows exactly where they need to be. And the goal isn't just to win the ball back safely, it's to instantly trigger a counterattack while the opposing team is still disorganized. This entire system was popularized globally by Jurgen Klopp, especially during his absolutely incredible run at Borussia Dortmund. Klopp realized a really profound truth. The moment a team wins the ball, they are actually at their most vulnerable. Why? Because their players are moving out of defensive positions to start an attack. Gegenpressing turns that exact vulnerability into devastating, immediate attacking opportunities.
Chapter 5. Hansi Flick's Tactical Synthesis, the Modern Era.
So how do decades of this rich history come together today? Enter Hansi Flick. He perfectly blends traditional German principles with modern innovations. He pairs that aggressive gegenpressing we just talked about with high tactical fluidity and overlapping runs from the fullbacks to constantly stretch the opposition.
Flick's true genius lies in his adaptability across entirely different footballing cultures. At Bayern Munich, his Bayern Gegenpress won the Champions League using a really dynamic, fast-paced 4-2-3-1. With the German national team, he tweaked it for a slightly more compact defense. And now, at FC Barcelona, he is facing the ultimate test, blending his direct, fast-paced German style with Barca's traditional possession-heavy tiki-taka.
And honestly, he's executing it brilliantly at Barcelona right now, mainly by relying on youth. Young talents from the La Masia Academy, guys like Gavi, Pedri, and Olmo, are perfectly suited to this high-pressing, fluid system. Up front, he's got a lethal trio in Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, and Robert Lewandowski. Flick is successfully transforming slow, controlled possession into a much faster, more direct style of play, without losing the team's core identity.
We've seen how tactical innovation can literally rebuild a nation and accelerate the global game to absolutely breathtaking speeds. So, the next time you watch a weekend match and see a team swarm the ball, you know exactly where that came from. The big question is, as players get even faster and systems get even smarter, what will be football's next great tactical revolution? Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer. Keep watching the pitch.